Every great story has a beginning, a spark that ignites a flame. This one, the story of Microsoft, started with something simple, yet profound. In 1975, against the backdrop of a burgeoning tech scene in Seattle, two friends, bound by a shared passion and an insatiable curiosity, were about to embark on an extraordinary adventure. These two individuals, Bill Gates and Paul Allen, were more than just friends. They were kindred spirits, each possessing a unique blend of intellect and ambition. Their attention was captured by the Altair 8800, a machine that represented a pivotal moment in computing history. It was prominently displayed on the cover of Popular Electronics, a beacon of innovation that captured the imagination of tech enthusiasts everywhere. The Altair wasn't some monolithic system locked away in a corporate lab. It was a small kit, accessible to hobbyists and tinkerers, a gateway to a new era of personal computing. This was a stark contrast to the giant university mainframes that dominated the computing landscape at the time. Gates and Allen, with their forward-thinking minds, immediately recognized the potential. They saw the future, a world where personal computers were not a luxury but a ubiquitous presence, personal computers everywhere. Their vision, a computer on every desk and in every home, wasn't just a fleeting thought. It was a deeply held conviction that would shape their actions and drive their ambition. It was radical, especially at a time when computers were seen as tools for large organizations, but it drove them forward with unwavering determination. They understood that the Altair, for all its promise, needed something more to truly unlock its potential. They realized the Altair needed software to be useful, so, with a blend of ingenuity and sheer determination, they set out to write a version of BASIC, a user-friendly programming language, specifically tailored for the Altair. This was no small feat, especially considering they didn't even have the computer to test it on. They were essentially coding in the dark, relying on their intellect and shared understanding of the machine's architecture. With the software written, the moment of truth arrived. Paul Allen embarked on a journey to Albuquerque to showcase their creation to MITS, the company responsible for bringing the Altair to life. It was a huge risk, a make-or-break moment that could determine the course of their careers. But against all odds, the demo worked perfectly, exceeding all expectations. This resounding success marked not just a personal triumph, but the birth of something far greater: Microsoft. With their newfound momentum, Gates and Allen formally established Microsoft, a name that reflected their initial focus on microcomputer software. From the outset, their strategy was clear: focusing on software, the brains of the computer, not hardware, the physical components. Their strategy to sell software to as many hardware makers as possible, creating a vast ecosystem of compatible devices. They chose to collaborate, not compete, with the hardware manufacturers, a decision that would prove to be incredibly astute. This strategic decision to focus on software and partner with hardware companies fundamentally shaped Microsoft's future trajectory. To be closer to MITS and the heart of the burgeoning microcomputer industry, they made a pivotal move, relocating to Albuquerque, New Mexico. From their new base of operations, they aggressively licensed BASIC to other computer makers, expanding their reach and influence across the industry. They understood the power of collaboration and actively built key partnerships with other companies, fostering a spirit of cooperation within the industry. Their ultimate goal, to make Microsoft software the de facto standard for the entire new industry, ensuring compatibility and ease of use for consumers. Each deal, each partnership, each line of code laid the foundation for something truly remarkable. They were building the infrastructure, the very bedrock, for the personal computer revolution that was about to sweep the globe. Young, ambitious, and driven by a clear plan, they possessed the perfect combination of talent, vision, and unwavering resolve. Gates and Allen were not just building a company, they were on a mission to change technology forever, to democratize computing and empower individuals. Microsoft's unwavering focus on software, not hardware, allowed them to adapt quickly to changing market conditions and capitalize on emerging opportunities. This singular focus, this dedication to software excellence, set it apart from its competitors and established it as a leader in the industry. Their early success with BASIC, a testament to their programming prowess, opened doors across the industry and solidified their reputation as innovators. It opened doors across the industry, paving the way for future collaborations and partnerships that would further accelerate their growth. The world of technology was on the cusp of a monumental transformation, a shift that would reshape society and redefine the way we interact with information. And at the forefront of this revolution, guiding the charge with vision and determination, was Microsoft, leading the way into a new digital age. The revolution had begun, a revolution fueled by innovation, driven by ambition, and powered by the relentless pursuit of a better future. It all started with two young men and a dream that would ultimately transform the world. The journey was just getting started, and the world was about to witness the dawn of a new era in computing. In the late 1970s, IBM stood as a titan, dominating the computing landscape with its massive mainframe computers. These machines were the workhorses of businesses and governments, processing vast amounts of data and running critical applications. They were the symbol of technological power, and IBM was at the very top. As the 1980s dawned, IBM made a strategic decision to enter the burgeoning personal computer market. This was a bold move, a departure from their traditional focus on large-scale systems. To make their PC vision a reality, they needed an operating system, the fundamental software that would control the hardware and allow users to interact with the machine. Microsoft, a relatively small company at the time, didn't actually have a fully fledged operating system ready to go. But the ambitious and confident Bill Gates, recognizing the immense opportunity, promised IBM that he could deliver a suitable operating system in time for their PC launch. To fulfill this promise, Gates moved quickly. He acquired QDOS, Quick and Dirty Operating System, from Seattle Computer Products, a local company, and brought its creator, Tim Patterson, on board. Patterson then worked diligently to adapt QDOS, refining and modifying it to meet the specific requirements and specifications that IBM had for their new personal computer. The real stroke of genius, however, wasn't just in the technical adaptation, but in the licensing agreement that Microsoft negotiated with IBM. Crucially, Microsoft retained the rights to license and sell the operating system to other computer manufacturers, a decision that would prove to be incredibly lucrative in the long run. IBM branded their version of the operating system as PC-DOS, for Personal Computer Disk Operating System. Meanwhile, Microsoft marketed the same operating system under the name MS-DOS, or Microsoft Disk Operating System. This clever deal allowed Microsoft to independently license MS-DOS to other companies. This opened the floodgates for other companies to create IBM-compatible PCs, all of which needed an operating system to function. Soon, companies like Compaq, one of the early pioneers in the PC market, and Dell began building and selling their own clones of the IBM PC. And every single one of these compatible machines needed MS-DOS to operate, creating a massive market for Microsoft. So for every compatible PC that was sold, regardless of the manufacturer, Microsoft earned a licensing fee, steadily growing their revenue stream with each new machine that hit the market. This created a powerful cycle of growth and expansion. The more computers running MS-DOS, the greater the demand for compatible software applications, which in turn fueled even more computer sales, driving the entire industry forward. As a result, Microsoft rapidly ascended to become the central hub of the burgeoning PC ecosystem. The IBM deal proved to be a pivotal moment, fundamentally transforming Microsoft's trajectory. It propelled the company from a relatively small player into a dominant software powerhouse, setting the stage for future success. The foundation upon which Microsoft's vast empire would be built was firmly established. A single, seemingly simple contract irrevocably changed the course of the technology industry forever. The age of the personal computer had definitively arrived, bringing computing power to homes and offices around the world. And Microsoft, thanks to its strategic licensing of MS-DOS, found itself positioned right at its very core, driving innovation and shaping the future of technology. The software revolution was well and truly underway, and Microsoft was leading the charge. MS-DOS was undeniably powerful, a command-line operating system that allowed users to directly interact with their computer's hardware. It was the engine that drove the early PC revolution, but it wasn't exactly user-friendly. Navigating its cryptic commands and syntax was a challenge, especially for those new to computers. It demanded a level of technical expertise that limited its appeal. Microsoft recognized that for computers to truly become ubiquitous, they needed to be far easier for everyone to use, regardless of their technical background. They needed to bridge the gap between the machine and the average person. The answer, a graphical user interface, or GUI. a visual environment where users could interact with the computer using icons, windows, and a mouse. In 1985, Microsoft launched Windows 1.0, a graphical shell designed to run on top of MS-DOS, providing a more intuitive way to manage files and launch programs. Early Windows, particularly version 1.0, was admittedly slow and, to some, unimpressive. It was a first step, but it lacked the speed and polish needed to truly replace MS-DOS. But Microsoft was committed to the vision and kept improving it, refining the code and adding new features with each iteration. The real breakthrough came with Windows 3.0 in 1990, a significantly friendlier and more visually appealing interface, vastly better performance thanks to improved memory management, and simple, engaging games like Solitaire and Minesweeper that subtly taught users how to use the mouse and interact with the GUI. Windows 3.0 was a massive hit with consumers and businesses alike, making PCs accessible and approachable to millions of new users. Developers, seeing the potential, flocked to Windows, creating a flood of innovative new software applications and programs. Microsoft became known for more than just MS-DOS, but for Windows, the new, user-friendly face of computing. The launch of Windows 95 was not just a product release, it was a global cultural event, introducing iconic features like the Start menu and the taskbar, which are still familiar to us today. People lined up at midnight outside computer stores, eager to get their hands on the latest version. Windows 95 cemented Microsoft's position as the dominant force in the operating system market, and firmly established the PC as an essential tool for modern life, both at home and in the office. The PC was now truly for everyone, regardless of their age, background, or technical expertise, and Microsoft was confidently leading the way, shaping the future of personal computing. The world now had a new, globally recognized standard for computing. The Windows era had officially begun, ushering in a new age of computing. Microsoft wasn't alone in the GUI race. Apple got there first. Steve Jobs, inspired by Xerox PARC, launched the Macintosh in 1984 with a beautiful, easy-to-use interface. Apple's approach: control both hardware and software for a seamless experience. Microsoft's strategy: make software for any hardware, making PCs more affordable and widespread. The rivalry was fierce. Jobs accused Gates of copying, but both drew from Xerox's ideas. Apple's Mac was beloved in creative fields, but Windows won the business world. By the 1990s, Microsoft's open approach captured most of the market. Apple struggled, even taking a $150 million investment from Microsoft in 1997. The deal kept Office on Mac and helped Apple survive. This rivalry pushed both companies to innovate. In the end, Microsoft's open platform won the market share war. The battle for the desktop defined an era. The PC revolution had a clear winner. By the mid-1990s, Microsoft dominated with Windows and Office. Office, Word, Excel, PowerPoint became the standard for business. The next frontier, the Internet. Netscape's web browser threatened Microsoft's dominance. Microsoft responded by bundling Internet Explorer with Windows for free. This move crushed Netscape and made Internet Explorer the top browser. Microsoft's power extended from the desktop to the web. But these tactics drew government scrutiny. In 1998, the US government filed an antitrust lawsuit, accusing Microsoft of crushing competition. The trial was a public spectacle, forcing Microsoft to change some business practices. Microsoft's dominance brought both success and legal trouble. The company learned that power comes with consequences. The tech world was changing fast. Microsoft had to adapt to survive. As the 2000s began, Microsoft looked beyond the PC. The Xbox launched in 2001, challenging Sony and Nintendo in gaming. Xbox Live revolutionized online play, making Microsoft a gaming powerhouse. Windows XP was a hit, but Vista flopped, showing even giants stumble. The real challenge: the rise of smartphones. Apple's iPhone and Google's Android changed everything. Microsoft's mobile efforts lagged behind. Windows Phone arrived too late. The company missed the mobile revolution. A costly mistake. Microsoft's dominance was no longer guaranteed. The tech landscape was shifting. New worlds meant new risks, and new opportunities. Microsoft had to find its next act. The 2000s were Microsoft's lost decade. Profitable, but seen as slow and uninspired, Microsoft struggled to keep up with Google, Apple, and Facebook. Internal competition stifled innovation. Failed products like Zune and Windows Phone hurt the company's image. Xbox 360 was a bright spot, but Microsoft missed the mobile wave. Early investment in cloud computing, Windows Azure, hinted at a new direction. Microsoft was an aging giant searching for relevance. Change was desperately needed. The next chapter would redefine the company. In 2014, Satya Nadella became CEO, sparking a dramatic transformation. Nadella shifted focus from Windows first to mobile first, cloud first. Microsoft released its best apps on iOS and Android, embracing openness. The company poured resources into Azure, becoming a leader in cloud computing. Nadella changed the culture, encouraging teamwork, collaboration, and innovation. Microsoft embraced open source, joined the Linux Foundation, and bought GitHub. Investments in gaming and AI expanded Microsoft's reach. The company became more agile, relevant, and innovative. Microsoft's reinvention made it a leader in the new tech era. The cloud was now its engine of growth. Microsoft was no longer just a PC company, it was everywhere, on every device, in every industry. The new Microsoft was here to stay. Microsoft's journey is a story of vision, dominance, and reinvention. From a tiny startup to a global titan, it shaped how we work and live. Its legacy, adapting to change, learning from mistakes, and finding new paths to relevance. Today, Microsoft leads in cloud, gaming, and AI, no longer tied to Windows alone. Its ambition remains as large as ever. The company's story is far from over. As technology evolves, Microsoft faces new challenges and opportunities. The revolution continues. How will Microsoft shape your world next?